Hi guys, do we have our special guest on here yet? Is Marissa's on here? You guys, look at this hair. I mean, isn't this beautiful?
Ow!
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations to everybody who is new onto this call, and also congratulations to those of you who are seasoned gold ambassadors that have earned your spot on this call. This call is full of people, not just gold. You've got golds, you've got senior golds, all the way to diamond. And I think that this is a really special group that we get to do the first Thursday of every month, where we just get to learn from our jewels on areas that they find value in, that they have had experience in, that they've maybe failed and have grown from those, and they're sharing. So I hope that everybody, including us, have our pen and our paper and are excited to learn. Jordan, Joanna, do you guys have anything to say before we pass it off to Marissa?
No, but do we want to, if you're brand new on this call, do you want to like unmute yourself and say hi and tell us who your sponsor is really fast?
Not intimidating at all.
Not at all.
I'm Melissa. Kylie is mine. And so is Emily.
That's so well.
I have two brand new golds on this call tonight. They both ranked 2 days ago. One of them's fast start, and the other one would have been a fast start, but she signed up for the products too long ago. But Amy and Jordan, I am calling y'all out. So proud of y'all.
Yay, congratulations. So huge.
Anybody else that want to, before we get started?
Hello, I'm Joanna. I'm under, excuse me, my dogs are going crazy. Tabitha, Jeremy, and Deb Von Bergen are my sponsors.
Yay! Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Oh, and I'm also hoping that Kim jumps on because she's my first gold.
Yay! That is so, I love that. Is Tessa on here? I wasn't sure if she was on.
I'm on here. Yeah.
What up, girl?
Hi.
All right. Anybody else? Going once. Going twice. Okay. Y'all, Marissa is one of my jewels, and I love her. I genuinely think she's just better at everything than me. Like literally, she is just so good. And vision casting is a skill of hers. It's something she studied. It's something she practices, and it's something she not only has for herself, but she has for her team. And our team talks a lot about how vision is really the root of so many things. If you're feeling stuck or you're feeling like overwhelmed, well, maybe your vision is out of line and you forgot why you're here and where you're going. And so vision is so rooted in so many of the things that we talk about. Getting business builders. If you have a vision, you're sharing that. People want to come alongside your vision. Therefore, you are creating and duplicating, right? So long story short, vision is the root, and Marissa's going to teach us all about it tonight. So Marissa, love you. Here we go.
Well, thank you. Huge compliment coming from Jordan. So, okay, guys. So this is something that I feel like I am passionate about because I feel like it's, I don't know, for me, I know that sometimes vision is really hard, I think, for people to like grasp and to like dive into. But I think that part of the reason for me, that it felt very natural and just really inspired me is because of my upline. Like they're very good also at casting vision. And so from the get-go, it's really what drew me in to even attempting the business at all, because I had no, like, it was not on my radar at all to share about Plexus. I was actually involved in a different MLM at the time. And so it was not even anything that I was thinking about entertaining, but because I was surrounded by so many women when I got started with Plexus that had such a strong vision and really like poured that into me, I think that it just became like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? Why am I not jumping at this? And just sort of poured into it that way. So I do have slides. So I don't know if I can show them, like,
Yeah, you should be able to share your screen.
Oh, here we go. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. This was fun today too, because I got to go look at like everybody's posts lately. And so if you see pictures that are familiar to you, they're probably yours. Okay, so vision, the what, the why, and the how. So I wanted to start very basic. I am a teacher by trade, so just like I had way too much fun with us making this presentation. So what is vision? I wanted to start with like, first, what is this? What are we talking about when we talk about vision? I found two different definitions here. It means being able to think about or plan the future with imagination and wisdom, and a vivid mental image, especially a fanciful one of the future, which I love because it's so true. It's like really getting very clear on what your vision is. What does it look like? Who are you with? Where are you? Even like, what are you wearing? How are you feeling? Like getting really, really clear on what that is. And sometimes that's really hard to do. So if you're feeling like yours is muddy, that's okay. That's what tonight is for. But the reason that we want to have this is because it's literally, like Jordan said, exactly what drives our why in this business. It's what inspires people to ask questions about what you're doing. And it's how we paint a picture of the opportunity for people in our circle. So whether or not you believe you have influence over the people that are around you. And when you can get really good about knowing what your vision is, where you want to go, how you want to use this opportunity, where you want to be in 10 years, those are things that you can really like drip on the people that are around you all the time in so many different ways. And we're going to talk about how, but it starts with like, well, what is that? And when things get hard, is when it becomes really easy to let things like your business go. So if you have a very clear vision and you have that mental image in your head, and it's readily available to you, like you can see it all the time, it really makes that your why come back up over and over again. And it really helps you to not just let things go and sort of take the easy way, right? An easy way in that moment. It's not going to be the easy way later, but it's an easy way in that moment to just say, today is not the day. I'm not going to do whatever it was that you had told yourself that you were going to do. And, be more reactive than active. And yes, I took that straight from tips from the top today. So what is vision? This is what it is. Now, I want you guys to think about for a second. I said that my vision came very, very clearly from my upline. They're just really good about constantly talking about the vision, painting that picture, making it very clear, making it very accessible, like as if I could put my hand out and touch what it was that I was working toward. And they do that obviously through pictures. These are a lot of pictures from people on the team, in the way that they speak, in the way that they post, and just the conversations, right? The simple conversations that they have with you. And so you can do this too, but I want you to think about like a time that vision was casted for you. And I would really, really love to hear from some of you, because I really don't want to talk at you the whole night. But if you could share, like, if there was a time that vision was casted for you, who casted that vision? How did they do it? Like, why do you remember it? There's a reason that you remember it. How did it make you feel? And then did it like prompt you to do anything? Like, did you go take any action? You know, did it have you really thinking about things? I would really love to hear. If anybody wants to just unmute and just go for it, that'd be great.
I'll share. So when I was a gold, my sponsor, my original sponsor, like quit the business. She's my best friend. And so I was kind of like, well, I mean, I had a good connection with my other uplines, but I was kind of like, well, I mean, I'm a gold. Do I continue or not? You know, and I remember so vividly, Jordan sent me a voice message and was like, I know you're going to be a jewel on our team. And I was like, what? Like she sees that in me. And so I was like, I'm not quitting. Like I'll keep going. Like, obviously I'm going to be a jewel. So that was really cool.
And now she is. I'll share one of mine. I was at an event with Jessica Heffley and some of her jewels, or her leaders, I guess, in Little Rock. And we had to go from this restaurant to a movie theater to watch Rachel Hollis's like documentary, whatever, at the movie theater. And I just remember Carissa Casey was like, hey, you can ride with me. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I don't know, maybe a Ruby. And she was like one of my heroes. And so I got to ride in my first Plexus Lexus. And y'all, I could like smell it. It smelled so good. I was like, I need this car. I want this car. Give me the Lexus. And so anyway, that was a vision casting moment for me because I wanted one.
I love that. I love that these two are probably things that like are small, right? Sometimes I feel like we do really elaborate things to try to cast a vision for our team, but even the very small things, you know, like having someone ride with you in their car, or you know, sending a voice message and telling them about, you know, the potential that you see in them. Like those are very simple things. But that's why I say, like, when your vision is clear and you have it in front of you and you know where you're going, it's a lot easier to pinpoint those other people that are going to come with you, because you are very clear on where you're going. And so it's like, okay, I see this person, you know, like you have it right there. You've got it mapped out, you know, what kind of person you're looking for, what you want to do with this business and this opportunity. And then you can just constantly share those little moments with your team. Anyone else? Okay. No, I heard someone.
It was me. I'll go.
Okay.
Okay, so for me, it was Super Saturday at Jordan's house. Almost backed out. Lindsay and I were gonna leave like super early, and I was like, I don't know. I really like to sleep, so I was like, I don't know. Thank you, Emily. But I remember pulling up at Jordan's house. I was like, "Where's that Lexus?" And Lindsay was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Are you for real? Like, are we about to walk into her house? Like, she's a diamond." Like, and I just remember thinking, like, "Am I allowed to walk into her house?" And then she just hugged me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay." Jordan Roddenberry just hugged me, and then I guess the next thing was Ruby Retreat, and Jordan was like, "You can totally drive the Lexus." I was like, "Oh my gosh, are you serious?" So I pretty much drove it like the whole trip. It was awesome. I was like, yep, I'm gonna have one of these one day. I cannot wait.
I love that.
At 30A, can you all hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. At when we were in 30A, and Jordan, like, she kind of seemed shy when she said it, but like, because it's a lot of money. But when I forget who, someone asked, like, well, how much, like legit, like, tell us what your check was last month. And she told us, and like my jaw just like dropped. And I was like, and because Jordan, obviously we all know her and we all love her. She's the most like down to earth, normal human. And to be making that kind of money and still being really normal, I was just like, what? We're so similar in so many ways. And you're making that, like, I've never made that in a year.
That's so awesome. Yes, I love that. I mean, and the cool thing is, well, Jordan obviously like has a lot of vision for me too. And I think just in being able to see, like, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but my husband is a football coach. And so we have this very similar understanding of like, you know, primary parenting and coach wife life. And so it was like, oh my gosh, I have met somebody that gets, first of all, the way that I live. And second of all, like, is totally cool to talk to and is really successful, you know, and can do it without like, you know, all of the stresses that I was dealing with was like childcare and moving and, you know, I'm a teacher. So like changing credentials state to state, like all these things that come up with the lifestyle that we live. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here's somebody else. Like, so I think also when you have that vision and you, like what I was saying, like when you see somebody else that you can really relate to in that way and drip sort of that like relational, I don't know, the way that you relate to people with them and make it seem very accessible for them, and not in a way that's like, this is so easy, come do this, but in a way that's like, I see that you're driven, I see that you know, have great values, I see that you have all these things about you that I love, like you can do this too, is really, really cool. So like, why, you know, why do we want to cast a vision? There was two things that it kind of just like kept sticking out to me. Obviously, like, we want to attract people to come do this with us and share about Plexus. The products are amazing. The opportunity is wide open. And so, but part of like leadership and really taking this business to the next level, casting vision kind of comes down to two different things, both leadership and legacy. So with leadership, like it's, I mean, I'm just going to say it, like, if you can't really cast vision, then you're not really leading, because you got to be able to show people where they can go and where you're going. If you can align your team with a common goal, and you can engage those people that are not engaged yet in that common goal, you're going to not only find success in your business, but you're going to also build up other leaders that can be successful in their business. And sometimes that even means that like you are helping them find their role. Like, what does it look like for them? What does their vision look like? When you're casting that vision, you are truly leading your team in the direction that you want to go. Otherwise, I've been here before, you feel like you're pulling everybody into like from different directions, and it's overwhelming and it's hard. And that's when you feel like, I don't have time for this. Nobody wants to do this with me. Nobody wants this as much as I do. Yeah, because they don't see the vision yet. They're not on board yet. So when you can cast that vision, it truly makes your leadership so much more in alignment with your team. You're able to show them and not just tell them what is possible and where you're going. So everybody, and I know we said this, I don't know who said this at the Ruby Retreat, but they were like, get all the heifers rowing. And it's been sticking to the team. But like, and not that anybody's heifers, whatever, but it's very funny. And so like, it's pretty much like you're getting everybody rowing in the same direction when you can lead with your vision. And the next thing is legacy. Like, you know, we do this because we don't want to just be here for a year and then like be done, right? Like, we want to take this to the next level. Like, we want to be able to have that time freedom, and it takes time to build up to that time freedom. But that's where legacy comes in. If you are vision casting and you are leading your team with your vision in the forefront, you are able to build a legacy business. And that's what we want. That's where we come from on these teams. Like, our leaders come from legacy businesses. That's what, at least for me, like, that's what I want to emulate. And to really build up other leaders on my team to take on more of the things too. Really build strong leaders, and that comes from vision. So you want to inspire other people to invest in their business for the long term. That's what vision will do. It also creates momentum. We all want momentum on our team. And you will begin to, like Jordan said at the beginning of the call, you will begin to attract those people that are more than hobby owners, that really have that mindset to treat this like a business, to invest in the company, to invest in Plexus, in the retreats, and really get to know the products, and just like really be like that company girl that we want to be with Plexus, and be very proud of that. And so those are some of the reasons why this is so important. It's down, it will take you way further than, you know, we've been recruiting a whole bunch of VIPs that love the product. That's amazing. But at some point, like, you also want to have leaders on your team that are doing this with you, that are going to help you build a sustainable business that's sustainable, that's giving you all of the time freedom, all of the, you know, all of the things that you want. I know for me, like, I'm super stoked about being able to be in Hawaii this year, but also I'm like, I don't want to go by myself. Like, I want my team to come with me. So somebody better be coming with me to Hawaii in July, but like, that's the vision, right? And then, okay, so then who are we casting vision for? And there's sort of 3 different groups of people I think that we're casting vision for. Obviously your audience. Isn't this the cutest picture ever too, by the way? But I hope you don't mind, Joanna, that I put your picture up there. But casting vision for your audience, the people that are in your network, on your social media, and your audience too is like people. It's not just social media, but also your team. Obviously, we want to cast vision for them, and your shareholders. You guys, I feel like once I finally did that last piece, and I figured out how to cast the vision for my husband and for my kids, it made my life so much easier. And I know that there's probably some of you, I feel like, especially like right there, gold, senior gold, like right there in that area, is I felt like was one of the hardest parts for me to really get my family on board with me and figure out, like, what is this that I'm doing? Why do I want to do it? Why am I spending time on my phone? You know, why is dad tucking you in tonight for bed instead of mom? Like, you know, all of these things were super important. And I didn't realize how much it was holding me back until I figured out how to fix it. So your shareholders, these are people like your family, your kids, your husband, you know, maybe some immediate family members that, you know, help you out with your kids or whoever else. When you cast vision for them, it makes your life so much easier. And I have some things that I did, and I'm going to kind of spend some time here on this because we've already talked a little bit about audience and team, but I think this last piece is really, really important. I'm sure that some of you probably could relate to the fact of, like, you know, maybe somebody's even grouchy at you right now for being on the call. Like, I get that. So if we can sort of round table, if anybody wants to share out some different things that you've done to help cast vision for your, I say shareholders, but family, whoever it is, that are the most important people to you, that maybe do not quite get what you're doing yet or why you want to do it, and do not have a vision for what it is that you're doing. Have you done anything? Have you done anything that has changed that or that has made it better? I would love to hear some ideas.
I can share from experience. It was a family member who didn't understand what I was doing as far as Plexus in general, not necessarily in my home. And I remember a conversation with Emily about how there's this concept of grasping, like, okay, I could choose to work full-time as a nurse and be away from my family 13-hour days, come home exhausted, need the like whole next day to recover, that kind of thing, where it's like taking me away from my family in this manner. Or I do have like these nights where my husband's tucking the kids in bed, or I'm waking up early in the morning, like these trade-offs basically, but I'm in control of the calendar and the schedule and saying yes or no to these Plexus commitments that are necessary to grow a business. But it helped relieve that. Well, I'll just say, as my sister, she didn't understand what I was doing, and she thought that I was like, I don't know, we don't need to get on the details, but basically I hope that makes sense, and that it's like she's choosing to go work full time and leave her family aside from for her job. And this just looks different. And so but within your own home, I don't know, I hope someone can share, maybe who had personal experience where there was someone within the home that didn't agree, because that is a little trickier.
Honestly, what I did, because my husband told me I would not be successful at this. And so how I vision cast for him was growing my paycheck, because that's what spoke to him. And so how I did that was I just stayed consistent, and I did things every day, like when I could, when he was at work, whatever. And as my paycheck started to grow, he started to get more and more on board. It was like, okay, like anyway, that's how I vision cast for him. And now he's like, of course, my biggest supporter.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off that
Go ahead.
because mine was very similar. Like my husband was like not super supportive in the evenings, especially when, we had a newborn and a toddler and things like that. But our first like Plexus trip was Emerald Extravaganza. So obviously that trip in and of itself was super vision casting for him. He's like, we have to earn that trip every year. It was so baller, But the biggest thing I think for him was like him having conversations like with Hannah's husband and with Jordan's husband and like with people's husbands there. Like we came back and he was like, should I start working this with you? Like he was so like just like on board and excited, and like, how do we grow faster? And so I think definitely like taking your husband to an event is, earning leaders retreat and taking him and things like that are huge.
I want to say,
Yeah, I was gonna say like the same thing, Katie. I don't think my husband ever had any doubt in me. I think he knew I was capable of being successful at whatever I put my mind to, but he had a huge doubt with network marketing in general. And so I remember even telling him that I wanted to leave my full-time job. It was like, I don't think so. And we really struggled with that, like for the first 2.5 years. But I even remember calling him. He was away at a guys' night, and I called him the night that we hit Emerald, and we hit it at like 9:30 at night. And I just remember he was like in shock. Like he was like, wow, this really happened. And I'm like, yeah, this is for real. Like we're going to Mexico in a month and a half. And truly taking him to Mexico changed everything, because just like Katie said, he met all the husbands who are so bought into their wives' businesses, not just for the sake of the money and for the free trips every year, but because Plexus is a freaking amazing company. Like just to meet Alec and Tarl and some of the leadership on those retreats changes everything, because you like understand just their genuinity and how good of people they are and how much they serve their ambassadors. And I think Matt just like totally felt that. And he told me on the trip, he's like, this is the best vacation I've ever been on in my life. And you have to earn this every year. And so come like January this year, he's like, okay, where are you at? How are you ranking right now? Have you earned the trip? We got to go. Like, I've got to put my PTO in. And so having that, like, I feel like just changed everything for my own belief and my ability to like go sapphire and then diamond. Hi, baby.
can I say something really fast? We've had a few people on our team whose husbands have not been the most supportive, who've actually been pretty ugly about network marketing and Plexus and just not really supporting their spouse. And I was talking with my husband because, like Kara said, my husband's always been very supportive. But my husband, when I was talking with him, he said, I feel like with network marketing, there are two things you really need to look for. He said, I think that you really need to look for like the financial risk, and you need to look for a company that has integrity and is just a good company. And so just like Jordan was saying, I feel like it solidified my husband's belief and support 1000% when we earn silver stars, because it's only 3 to 5 couples that get to go, and you get to have like one-on-one conversations with the executives, because like even earning Emerald Extravaganza, there are hundreds of people there. And so I encourage you guys to really, really shoot for silver stars, so that way your spouse or your sister who's skeptical, or whomever you would want to bring as your guest, can go, and then they can see the heart of corporate. They can see the heart of what you're doing. And for us, that just totally built the belief for my husband. And yeah.
I love that. And I brought my husband, my whole family came with us to a leaders retreat, just in, when was that? I don't know, just earlier this year. And even my husband was like, oh my gosh, I was expecting like, going to the hotel in like a little table. He was like, there was pictures of people all over the place and banners. And he was like, and he was even telling, I now have some local team, which is really fun. And she came over and he was telling her all about it. And it was really cool just to like hear him telling somebody else about the event, because I was talking to her about Gold School and like going and all those things. But yeah, it was really cool. And then even like my kids to be exposed, like they were playing with Jordan's kids the whole time. I think we were like in the pool, and Emily, your husband was in there, and he's like asking my husband, he's like, how are you part of the team? And he's like looking at me, and I'm like, he doesn't know anything. Like just lazy river, it's fine. But it was just really cool to see my kids were like, Mom, are these Plexus people? Like they're starting to like really learn about what I'm doing. And I think part of that too, like for my kids, it's really hard. I don't know if anybody else has kids like this, but like bedtime is like Mom does bedtime. Like nobody else does bedtime. Dad doesn't do it the way they want him to do it. And so sometimes calls like this is really hard. And so I have to tell them like, listen, Mom's doing some work, like this is my work time, I'll put you to bed, tomorrow night, whatever. And like we have to like make actual like conversation about why I'm not doing it. And for a long time they didn't understand. But at the beginning of the year, what I did was I printed a picture of the car that we were going to get. And it's up here in my office. I could see it from here. I should have pulled it down. And it's really big. It took it up the whole page. And I said, girls, every time they'd come in and be like, Mom, like, what are you doing? Like, can you come do this or whatever? I'm like, nope, this is my work time. Like, do you see the car? Like, and I would just point to the car like every time. And so when we went to get the car, like, it was so cool because they already knew, like, Mom, we're getting the car. It's just like the one in the picture. Like, they had room and they had space. And so I think that like, it's very simple sometimes for kids, but it's like, it has to be repeated. Right. And so if your kids are making you feel all that mom guilt, like, get creative, print some pictures, whatever, do some negotiating, whatever you need to do to get them to understand like that this is important to you and why, like what it is that you're working for. It even got down to the point when the computer would be up, my oldest would come over and the bars on the virtual office, she would see the bar graph and be like, Mom, you got closer, like was like looking at the line. And even today, I put the chalkboard up like I do every month of like our countdown of our numbers of where we want to be. And she's like, Mom, last time the number was different. I'm like, yeah, new month, new goal, honey. Like we're growing. So I think it's just fun, like for them, like if you can incorporate your family in that way, it really makes things easier for you to feel less guilt, less shame, and be able to just focus on what you're doing. And everybody kind of eventually, right, getting on board. It doesn't happen overnight, but that's that constant vision that you're pouring for your audience, for your team, and for your family. And it's so, so important. Okay, so
Hey,
moving on.
Marissa, thing real quick that I've done with
Yeah.
my girls, because I love getting my kids to be a part of this. So like, whenever you're vision casting for yourself, like wearing all emerald because you're going emerald that month. And so you're seeing like green everywhere. Well, I used, like when we went diamond that month, I took my kids to go get our toes painted and we all got silver sparkles on our toes. And like when we went diamond the next morning, like they knew what we had done. Like we'd been talking about it all month. And so like, I just love bringing them in and making them a part of this. So anyway.
Yes, I love it. That's yes.
Can I say one more thing really fast?
Yeah.
So I know a lot of y'all are like either brand new or maybe you've just been recently at gold, promoted to gold. And so talking about like extravaganza and all these luxurious things, like maybe it's far-fetched for you. The truth is, like when we first started, the only way I could get my husband bought into this was to bring home the money. That is it. There was nothing else that I could do that would prove to him that my time was worth the trade-off. And truly, like, that is it. And so my encouragement to you guys, if you're having struggles with getting your husband on board, don't just talk about it, go and be about it. And maybe it's time to grow your paycheck. Or maybe it's time to just show him your paycheck. I think a lot of the times it just goes straight to our bank account and we feel like we can't brag about it. Go show your husband how much your hard work paid off last month, and what bills you were able to cover to take that pressure off of him this month. I think that's super, super important early on.
That's a great point. I used to screenshot the emails like, you got paid, and send them to my husband like, oh, look, we just got some more money. Like, here it comes. You know, just for him to see that like there was something coming in, because same, like it just goes into the bank account. So like he doesn't even really, you know, but like if you can show that, and then, I mean, obviously right now we have the double bonuses going on. Like it's just a huge, like such a good time to really take advantage of that if you are struggling in this area, because the bonuses don't lie. And if you can bring that in and really help, you know, further cast that vision for your family, then, you know, now is a really good time to do that. And so I took a ton of screenshots of posts. And I know you can't really see them right here. And I don't know why there's a line on this thing now. I don't know if you guys can see that. But I have a bunch of different posts that I have screenshotted a couple of them here. I just wanted you to be able to like see the words that I can share with you guys too. But it's obviously you want like a catching picture when you're doing a post, but it's the wording too. And it's like, you know, it's really being able to show further than just the money too. Like, I think that if you can cast a vision about the community or the growth, I know that for me, one of the things that really bought my husband in was to see the growth and the change in me, the confidence, the way that this community really helped and inspired me and made me a better person at home. So I think that anytime that you can cast a vision in any of those ways in your post, there are other people in your network that are likely dealing with the very same things that you are. And the more that you can make that relatable and showcase that in the ways that you've grown, even if you feel like it's the tiniest thing, somebody else is going to pick up on that. And so there's 4 different things that I came up with that you can do as a leader of your team to encourage your team to post about their vision. And so one of the things is to lead by example. So if you are not posting yet about your vision, where you are going, what you plan to do with this opportunity, you need to start doing that, because you cannot expect your team to do what you are not doing. And also celebrate. I love to celebrate things that I see in my team. And I think it's part of being a teacher. It's like you're pointing out the things that are really good because you want everybody else to pick up on it, instead of being like, no, don't do that. Or, you know, the famous like, I'll wait. Like, you want to just highlight the things that the people are doing well on your team, and then everybody else will follow. So if you can celebrate the posts that you see from your team that are casting vision, that you think are very strong, or even if you exactly how you would do it, you can celebrate it and then also provide some feedback. So you're coaching along the way, but celebrate as much as you can your team and what they're doing well about casting vision. I like to do this too for my team whenever I see them doing it in 3 ways. So if your team is not doing 3 ways, definitely get them doing 3 ways, because you can also model how to vision cast in the 3 ways for your team, and then they can start duplicating that down. Also, I like to provide my team with different names of different diamonds or jewels within Plexus that do this really well. And I just have saved in my notes. And I know Lauren Davis probably has like a totally organized system in her app for for who to follow for what, but I just have a good old-fashioned list in my notes and I send it to my team for different people to follow when they're looking for inspiration or looking for some vision casting, or if they're not doing it yet, this is a great way to lead them, nudge them in the direction of like, look at these posts, and not in a way that's like, comparison. We don't want that to happen, but I think it's a way to help inspire. Look at the different ways that people are posting. And that's why I like having a list of different people that are in different age groups that, have a different groups of influence that they are speaking to, so that they can see lots of different ways that people are posting about vision. Because even in these examples here, like, Joanna's post here and Katie's post here is very much about the money, paying off debt, what they're able to use their paycheck for. Whereas on the other hand, Jordan's here is about, taking trips and bringing along other leaders with her in this post. And so there's lots of different ways that you can cast vision in your posting. And then obviously talking often. We heard already other people's experiences with casting vision was a lot in conversation. Talking to your team about what you're doing, what your vision is, what you're working toward, doing that obviously with your, your family or other people that are invested in the business that are you're close to too, constantly putting that out there. I remember before being very pregnant and we had the, Ford sedan, people would ask me all the time, like, well, what are you guys going to do for a car? Like, you're about to have a 4th baby, it's not going to fit in your car. And I'm like, we're not buying one because we're going to get a Lexus. And I would just say that all the time to people, like, I'm not getting a car. We're going to wait until this Lexus happens. And so like just being able to talk in that way with people about what it is that you're going to do or where you're headed and what your direction is often, and doing it in your team threads, in your post, on your team pages, in conversation with people, is really just how you do it. So I have a couple quotes, because I know that we all on this team love John Maxwell, and he is always so inspiring and just a wealth of knowledge. And so there's a couple here that I wanted to share with you about vision and just basically like the importance of it. It requires vision. If you want your vision to stick, you must stick with the vision. And so that's going to start with obviously knowing what your vision is. Okay, so the next part is a lot about leadership. Anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. Leaders who are good navigators are capable of taking their people just about anywhere. So if you're sitting here feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm gold or I'm senior gold, and like emerald or whatever feels so far away, just know that with growth in leadership and being able to use this tool, along with, other tools that we have, it's really not as far away as you may think it is. Because this type of tool using vision, like I said, is really taking your team to the next level. Because it's about more than just you, it's also about them. So if you're feeling like, I'm here at this rank, how do I get here? How do I get my team to come do this with me? Helping them invest in their vision and figure out where they want to be is going to motivate them, and just motivate them themselves to want to follow you in that way. So leadership, huge. Great leaders always seem to embody two seemingly what is that word did I even write? Desperate? I don't even know what that is. Qualities. Sorry. They're both highly visionary and highly practical. So obviously that last part really stuck out to me. Being visionary, but also practical, right? So being able to, I liked this part because it's how we kind of talk to our teams. Obviously everybody that you're talking to all the time is in different stages of their life and different seasons and different things. So being practical, but also teaching them really how to dream big. You can still be practical and dream big. Just because they're like, well, I'm a realist. My husband says that to me all the time, drives me nuts. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, go ahead and be that, but there's still this, like, you know, so helping them to really learn how to dream big. I think a lot of times, especially as women, we allow ourselves not to, and like, we just got to get it down on paper. And figure that out. So that's sort of the homework that I'm leaving you guys with. What is your vision? And get really clear on this. Before I could, I love this picture so much. Before I could do any of this work, I spent so much time writing out and rewriting and drawing pictures and journaling and reading and talking about it with my husband. What is it going to look like? And having those conversations. I cannot even tell you how scared I was. I think the first time I told my husband that I wanted to leave teaching and do this full time, was terrified because I was thinking, gosh, does he think I'm nuts? Like, I just spent so much time on schooling and you know, we have debts on, you know, master's degrees and all these things, and here I am telling him that I'm going to leave teaching. But because I had to get really clear and really clear on what I wanted to do, I knew that my next step was sharing that. So if you have not shared your vision, go do that. And I know it feels scary, so you should go share it with whoever that it feels most scary with. I know one of the other people that I felt a little scared to share with was my dad, because same reasons above, right? Like, I did all this schooling. He was the one who always told me, you'd be such a great teacher, you know, all these things. And so when I'm sitting here telling him, hey, Dad, like, you know, I'm going to be leaving teaching next year. We had not hit emeralds, anything like that yet. And he was super supportive. So sometimes you don't know, sometimes you have this like feeling or this thought in your head of how people may respond. But it is felt so freeing to be able to share that with people. This is my vision. This is what I'm doing. And so that's what I want to leave you guys with. And that's kind of it. What is your vision? Get really clear on it, and then go share it with somebody, and then go brag on yourself in your team thread that you did that. And that's kind of it.
Well, I have a million notes now, Marissa. Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. Joanna, Emily, do you have anything else you wanted to add? No, I can see your face looking at me.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to unmute. That was really good, Marissa. All of your quotes, just your focus on how we can go and create vision within all those 3 different audiences, 3 different groups. That's huge. And I just felt like so much energy from this whole group of people getting ideas and getting encouragement of ways that they can go and share this vision and create a strong foundation for their team and for their families. So good. So good.
All right, homework this week. Go post about your vision and go share it in your threads. I love that idea. Thank you, Marissa. Bye, y'all.